Welcome back again to the programme. Gabriel McSharry, our medical herbalist and nutritionist, joins us in studio. Good morning to you, Gabriel. Thanks for joining us once again. If you've got any questions or queries for Gabriel, let us know now. 083 3500 530 is the text number, and our phone number is 0818365 500. Now, we had a number of queries we didn't get to last week, Gabriel, just following up on some of them, and a lot of people getting flus. Must be change of season or something like that. And again, as I said last week, you'd be a millionaire if you could get a cure for the flu. But what sort of general advice would you give to people at this time of the year?
I guess the point is not to be looking for a cure for the flu. I mean, it's something that is there on a seasonal basis. Weather's getting cold, there isn't as much sun. So a number of factors as well included there, but the key, in my opinion, is to keep the immune system robust. And to do that, it's a number of things, in my opinion. Good exercise, keep yourself fit, exercise regularly, don't be kind of just indoors in a heated building all the time. Get out there, even though the weather could be pretty bad. Use waterproofings or heavy clothes, and just get out there and walk anyway, at least. And so that's one anyway. Keep the exchange of stale air in the lungs turned over with fresh air. Very, very important. Diet, as always, extremely important. Just in general, keep the diet good. And I mean, There's a few things specific, I guess, to point out that will be very protective coming into flu season. One is vitamin D, and it's something I talk regularly about. It's extremely important. The amount of scientific research being done on it now is just immense, and every week now there's one or two more studies being published.
On vitamin D?
Vitamin D.
All right.
So really, I guess, the knowledge we know about vitamin D, about 90% of it we've gleaned in the last 10 years. It's because really we've only learned how to test for it in the blood. So before that, all the recommendations weren't up to date, we'll say, and so in the last 10 years we learned a lot about it. So more and more research coming out. It has an antiviral effect. Now, the flu is a virus, and so keeping your levels of vitamin D up in the high normal would be protective, But it's also very a strong tonic for the immune system. So anyone with any autoimmune condition, it shows to modulate that, and it's good for the bones, and it's anti-cancer and so on. So extremely important. Now, our main way to get it is when we expose the skin to sunlight. And that's the best way we can get it. Now, in Ireland, we can't get it now for the next 6 months.
Unfortunately,
the sun isn't high enough in the sky anyway. If it was out,
and sometimes for even more than 6 months. But anyway,
so our other way to get it naturally from foods, the only place it exists is in fat and in blood. Now, here's the thing. We've been told to avoid fat now for 30 years.
Stay away from that.
Yeah, which is misguided in my opinion. But from the fat from animals who were exposed to UV light, the best source is cod liver oil. An old traditional food one would consume for the last 50-60 years here in Ireland and beyond, or fatty fish, So that's probably the best way to get it, but also in eggs and dairy and so on. Now, blood as well is something we don't consume as much as we did traditionally, but they're the only natural sources. Now, they have
when you say blood, you're talking about meat and
well, yes, yeah, but if we used traditionally in the diet, we used to there wasn't much wastage. We used to use blood for, pudding used to be made from blood, sausage, and I suppose a rarely cooked lamb's liver or beef or something like that, you'll get it. There's vitamin D in that. Of late, they've fortified foods with vitamin D, so you'll get it fortified, like added to cereals and milk and so on. My opinion, the best way to get it is through natural means. But coming into the winter, it'd be no harm to supplement. And I mean, you can get it tested too. Get your blood levels tested for your vitamin D level, and make sure you're in the high normal range.
Okay, all right. Manuka honey, someone wants you to talk about Manuka honey. Just general information they're looking for. I presume that has beneficial effects.
Well, it does.
So they tell us.
It's all raw honey has beneficial effects. Now, what's a raw honey? Raw honey is a honey that's not heated above 40 degrees. So, in order to get high yield out of the hives, sometimes honey manufacturers might heat the hive, and you get more yield of honey. But it destroys certain enzymes in the honey. It's not as good at all. So Manuka and other raw honeys, they use a centrifuge or something like that to get the honey out. It preserves the enzymes and vitamins and minerals, and it can be very beneficial in upper respiratory tract type infections like flu and that. Just as an adjunct to many other things. So, I mean, you can put a squeeze of lemon juice into a bit of honey and mix it around and spoon it that way. Or, as I said in the past, you could soak a chopped onion in some honey and then drain it off after a couple of days and spoon that into you every few hours. If you have a flu, it could be beneficial. One thing I didn't mention talking about the flu is herbal medicines for going into, say, flu season and just to keep the immune system robust. We have some really good herbal medicines. Some of our kingpins are astragalus. Echinacea is one a lot of people will have heard about. It's quite a popular one. Saladago, thymus. All these can be immune enhancing, immune stimulating, but also as a preventative against upper respiratory tract infections and flus.
All right, so Manuka honey, well, you'd approve of it anyway.
I would, yeah. One thing I would say about it, it is expensive, and it's a common thing people say back to me, like it's very expensive, and I agree. But as I say, any other raw honey, in my opinion, will be as good as Manuka. The reason Manuka has such a good branding is that they've done a lot of research on Manuka. So it's the one researched, but in my opinion, a good quality honey that's not heated, where the bees aren't fed sugar. It's just as good.
All right, okay. This listener has arthritis in their shoulder. What could you recommend anything for that at all?
Yeah, well, topically, I recommend a rub for any arthritic joint pain or any musculoskeletal joint pain. And the rub is made from some herbal oils and arnica, and it's something I make at the clinic, but it's rubefacient, so it heats the area, it draws blood or circulation to the area, and that has a healing effect. But also, it has a pain-killing effect as well. So that, along with internal treatment, important for arthritis. So important to distinguish whether it's osteoarthritis or rheumatoid. The only thing they have in common is the affected joints. Apart from that, they're quite a different pathology. One being an autoimmune condition, rheumatoid, and therefore the treatment is a little bit different. So with either arthritis, nutrition is really important. Avoiding things like, sugary drinks, or Cokes, Lilts, all these things. These things contain phosphorus and stuff. They're not good for the bones, and they tend to leach calcium from the bones, as do a lot of processed foods. So, in general, if one has arthritis or is predisposed to it, I'd avoid processed foods. Vitamin D, again, is something that's really important for arthritis, both of them, specifically rheumatoid, though. Very important to get your vitamin D levels into high normal range. Omega-3s, brilliant for arthritis. Quite a lot of scientific research there as well for omega-3s. So you get them in fish oil and fatty fish. Glucosamine is something that's quite a bit of science there on glucosamine sulfate and some of its similar type molecules like chondroitin and that, and something like that could be a decent enough supplement for someone with arthritic joints.
All right, okay, so a number of options there. One question before we take a quick break. This person feels weak, they have no energy, and they feel nauseous after eating food. Any ideas of how they can be helped at all?
Well, it's something I'd like to take a consultation on. It's something you'd need a full medical history there, and diet and so on, full case history, because it could be a number of things,
All right, okay. The rub for arthritis is called what again?
So I call it an Arnica Balm, but it's just my own name that I made up at the clinic. But it contains of I mightn't be able to remember them now offhand. But there's an infused oil of Arnica. There's camphor, cajeput, cinnamon clove, and 2 or 3 other herbal oils mixed together, no unnatural ingredients or anything, and works really, really well.
All right, okay. We'll take a quick break. Before we do, a quick giveaway, with thanks to all at the Solace Hotel in Donegal. We've 2 sets of 2 tickets for the Solace Hotel's Masterclass in Weddings, which will take place next February. The tickets are worth €75 each for the day package, which is €150 per set of tickets. And it's in conjunction with the Solace Hotel Masterclass. And a reminder that the Loch Esk Solace Hotel are having their wedding fair on Sunday, next, the 17th wedding fair there. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning those 2 sets of 2 tickets for the Solace Hotel's Masterclass in Weddings, just simply text Solace to 083 3500 530. That's Solace, SOLIS, to 083 3500 530. We're talking to Gabriel McSharing. We're back again in a few moments. It's 21 minutes past 11 now.
Ocean FM. Northwest Today with Rogers Topline Ballymote. New name, but still the same value close to home. Rogers Topline, the builders, hardware merchant leader in the Northwest. 071 918 3318. RogersTopline.ie. Ocean FM. Keep up to date with OceanFM.ie.
Ocean FM, worldwide on the web. Bravo!
Ocean FM, worldwide on the web.
Up to date local and national news.
Sport, obituary notices,
program schedules,
who's on when, competitions,
promotions and events. Ocean FM, worldwide on the web.
Keep up to date with OceanFM.ie.
Listen live. Ocean FM, make it part of your day.
Ocean FM, live on the web.
Ocean FM, worldwide on the web. This is Ocean FM. Ocean FM. Ocean FM.
Watson Hire Drumlonagher, Donegal Town. This week, buy a Super Sir gas heater at €119 and get a cylinder of gas absolutely free. Or what about a pair of DeWalt work boots at €69? Keep out the mice and rats this winter with a pest repeller at $29.99. Watson Hire Drumlonagher, Donegal Town.
P. Kaleri Furniture Lacken in Escrone. Over 3,000 square feet of kitchen and bedroom furniture on display in their exclusive showrooms. Stroll around their fabulous displays. Kitchens that inspire you day and night. P. Kaleri Furniture Lacken in Escrone, 096 365 24.
In this week's Sligo Champion, we're offering one of our lucky readers the chance to win a 2-night luxury break in the 5-star Loch Esk Hotel in Donegal. Pick up a copy of this week's Sligo Champion and you could win this magnificent break. It's all happening in the Champion.
Johnny, what did you use to clean the driveway?
I used West Chem's Moss Buster. Had it done in no time. I have no moss for 12 months. And better again, herself isn't getting on to me.
West Chem, a local product. Ask for it in your local store. It's Joe Dolan, the reunion show, coming to the Great Northern Hotel Bundoran this October bank holiday. An outstanding live production that sold out in Dublin and Killarney. 5 decades of endless magic rolled into one spectacular show at the Great Northern Hotel on Saturday, October 23rd. All music heard is performed live except Joe's vocals. Tickets now on sale at the Great Northern Hotel. Call 071 41204. There's still no show like a Joe show.
You kind of expect to get free calls and texts from your mobile company, but did you know as an O2 customer you get more? Now with O2 Treats you can get 20% off your fare when you book online with irishrail.ie. Share the moments. Our treat. Free text TREAT to 50202 to register or see o2.ie. O2. Together is better. Subject to availability and registration. Terms and conditions apply. Visit o2.ie for more.
The Saddler's Inn Boyle. Music this weekend. Friday night, Robert Mazzell and the Country Kings. Saturday night, Johnny Mullins Country all the way. That's the Saddler's Inn Boyle. Check out saddlersinn.com.
Girls, Vera Moda are now in Fashionista on Castle Street in Sligo. Fantastic new range. Check out Vera Moda, now at Fashionista, Castle Street, Sligo.
To have your say, call the Northwest Today comment line on 0818 365 500. Text your comment to 083 3500 530.
Okay, welcome back again. Gabriel McSharry with us in studio, medical herbalist and nutritionist. Kiwi fruits, are they high in vitamin C, and would you recommend them, Gabriel?
Very high in vitamin C, very high in a lot of other nutrients. Definitely, they're good in my opinion. I'd get them, make sure they're ripe. You know, sometimes, obviously they're not an indigenous fruit to Ireland, but sometimes they come in off ripe, and some shops and supermarkets put them out there when they're not even ripe, you know, and they're hard, but you know by the hardness of them, you know, they should be soft. Cut it in half, eat it like a boiled egg, you know.
Okay, so if they're too hard, they're not as effective, so...
Yeah, well, they're not ripe. Maybe leave them a while, you know. As they ripen, the starches change in them, so the sugars convert, and the best time to eat any fruit generally is when it's fully ripe, but any non-indigenous fruit to Ireland could be sold underripe, because I guess we just don't fully understand them, you know.
All right, Roaccutane for acne. Is it Roaccutane? Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yeah.
What do you think of it as a cure for acne?
Yeah,
and are there any side effects?
Well, yes, in both counts. It's a pharmaceutical now. There's an important thing to point out here. It's not a natural substance yet. A lot of people think it is, because what it is, it's a vitamin A analog. Meaning it's if you get vitamin A and you go into the lab and you take a few carbon bonds off it and change it a bit chemically, you get Roaccutane. But because of that, people think it's kind of like natural because it's vitamin A, but it's a completely different substance. So it's important to know that it's only available on prescription because it's a pharmaceutical. Yeah, I mean, my opinion is I wouldn't recommend it. It's something that has quite severe side effects, especially affects fertility a lot. And I think it is on the insert with the medication not to try and conceive a year after you stop taking it. So that'll give you an idea how long it takes. It lasts in the body, and of late, as far as I can recall, it's been linked to major depression, increased levels of suicide, and possibly inflammatory bowel disease. Okay, so for them reasons, then, you know, obviously I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, a natural remedy, so for acne.
Yeah, so I mean, with a lot of conditions, the key is to get to the underlying cause. Now, acne is something that can be strongly, there's a number of forms of acne, so we'll point out acne vulgaris, which is the most common form, and the most common cause or underlying cause is hormonal imbalance. So it's something that tends to come on around menarche for girls around 12, 13 or 11 to 14, and with guys around puberty. So it's sometimes an overproduction of hormones that are natural in the body, but the person just overproduces them for whatever reason, and that can bring it on. And with that, the key is to treat the hormones. So herbal medicines, there's some really good ones to modulate hormonal balance, and get the hormones back into balance, and they can work extremely well. I mean, for girls, the most common treatment now conventionally is the oral contraceptive pill. It does make it go away, but you're taking synthetic hormones while you're doing it. And if someone does it it's well documented that if a girl had, say, acne, developed it at 12, 13, 14, and they go on the pill, and they stay on the pill maybe till they're 30, just to get rid of the acne. When they come off it, it just comes back. So it's not a fix. It's just I suppose a patch, and it just delays it. And the fix would really be to try and modulate that hormonal imbalance when it happens. Right. Now, that's acne vulgaris. I mean, there is other causes, and it can be poor diet high in trans fatty acids, which are artificial fats. So you get them in anywhere where vegetable oils is heated to high temperature. So margarine, like potatoes, some baked goods, and so on. So even some of the vegetable oils that we see you fry chips in or something, deep fried foods, then vegetable oils tend to contain a lot of trans fatty acids, and they tend to not be metabolized right by the body and end up blocking pores and so on. Topically, I will say that topically, I think there's things that might appear to make it look better. You know, these creams and lotions and whatever to make your acne disappear. They're all dubious in my opinion. None of them will. And the key is to treat internally.
All right, okay. A call from a diabetic who's heard that diabetic tablets link to heart attacks, and they've been taken off the shelf in England. Are you aware of that, or do you have any opinions on that?
I don't know about the specific medication. I mean, there's a lot of diabetic tablets that could mean any of them, but there is in the past definitely there's been some pharmaceuticals that have been taken for diabetics and they turn out to have an adverse effect on the heart function and cardiovascular system, and you know, unfortunately they only discover this after maybe 10 years of people taking them. You know, so they might have a beneficial effect on blood glucose levels or insulin sensitivity, but it turns out after a few years it might predispose you to a heart attack. So if that's probably what they're on about, and if it was pulled in England, it's only a matter of time till it gets pulled from the market here.
All right, okay. Tennis elbow, any cure for tennis elbow, Gabriel?
Yeah, something like what do they call it? A contradictory exercise. So
a contradictory exercise.
Maybe that's not the right way. I just can't take it's you do something to the opposite.
To the opposite way. Okay.
If you're hitting forward in tennis, and you don't always develop tennis elbow from tennis, but it's overuse of the joint going one way.
So you need to do a reaction.
Take up bowling or something that swimming, something that would exercise the adjunct or alternative muscles is beneficial. So it tends to be come on from repetitive strain by using muscles and joints in a certain way, and if you counteract
that, then
counter it with other ways. And you know, if anyone goes to the gym or does weights, they'll be told that by the experts that you shouldn't always do one form of exercise one way. You should always counter it with other way exercises, and then you get a balance of the muscular system in the body.
All right. Again, suffer from arthritis. They've been told that dog oil is good for you. Good for it. Any advice on that? Did you ever hear that, dog oil?
I don't know what dog oil is.
Neither do I.
If they had the ingredients, I can text them in. And
either that or it's a misprint. Maybe there is such thing as dog oil. I don't know. 7C's multi-biotic or probiotic multivitamin. How good is this? No, you can't really comment on specific products, but are you aware of it at all?
7C's multivitamin.
Multi-biotic probiotic multivitamin.
All right. I haven't heard of that one specifically. Like I know of most of the 7C's range now, but if it's a multivitamin and a multi-probiotic, what they must have done is just join two kind of supplements together all in the one pill. And I'll speak about them separately, just on an ingredients level, and not so much about the product. But probiotics are really beneficial. They're beneficial for immune function. It's the good bacteria you get in the gut. Extremely important for immune function. 80% of our immune function lines our digestive system. So what keeps that good will keep the body good and the immune system robust. And probiotics are really important. The best way to get it is from natural yogurts. That was our traditional food in Ireland, so lacto-fermented beverages. In other traditions, in say German and Central European, it was the fermented cabbage, sauerkraut. You know, you get kimchi in Asia, kombucha, natto. All these things are fermented beverages used for probiotics, but our one was yogurts. But now they have them in pills, you know, that you either keep in the fridge or otherwise, and they can be beneficial. The multi, if it's 7C's, there's probably some from fish oil in there. Generally, that's their speciality, and in my opinion, on omega-3s, they're very beneficial in general. A good fish oil is really important. I think if you can eat fatty fish, that's good. But the second best is maybe a fish oil supplement. Cod liver oil, I think, is as good as any of them because it also has vitamin A and vitamin D in there. And a multivitamin in general, I'm not a massive pusher of vitamins, but I think people should get them from foods. And but in general, a multi every now and again for a period of time, say, for a month or two, and then go off them for a month or two, can be all right. And maybe in pregnancy or if someone's under a lot of pressure. But in general, we really need to get them from foods, yeah, that's a long story in itself, how you get them all from foods. But in general, I think actually one thing, excuse me, freshly squeezed vegetable juice is a great way to get vitamins at home. And if you, not fruit juice now, it's high in sugar,
vegetable juice. So, carrots, celery,
spinach, ginger root, beetroot, all these in small amounts, run them through a juicer and drink it straight away. And you don't need to drink much, a half a glass every second day. But if you drink it straight after you juice it, it's changed a lot in a half an hour even, when we do tests, some of the constituents are gone, but that's a good way to get vitamins.
All right, okay. Now this person, and they tell it's not a joke, they have a chafing rash in their groin area and in their buttocks area. They've tried antifungal cream and powder, but it's no good. It seems to be getting worse. The skin is peeling and it's sore as well.
Well, it sounds a classic fungal infection, like a nappy rash type of thing. Excuse me. And where we get fungal infections is in places where there's a lot of moisture. So around the buttocks, in the groin, in the armpits, in the mouth, in the vagina, anywhere where there's kind of moist mucous membranes, that's where fungus grow. It's the medium they use to grow. So internally, it's important to cut out all sugars from the diet. So that's what feeds fungus, is sugars, high sugar diets. So cut them away, and that's why diabetics are largely predisposed to fungal infections. So cut sugars way down the diet, way down. Cut out all processed sugar and sweets and stuff, but sugars down in general. I personally use internal herbal medicines that are antifungal, but also stimulate the immune system. So generally, we're exposed to fungus all the time. Our immune system kills it. That's the way it works. But if someone has prolonged or chronic fungal infection, it's an indication too that the immune system is low, and therefore needs to be treated. Also, things like probiotics that we mentioned are good there. They kind of counter fungal infections in the gut. And generally, if people have systemic fungal infection, there's fungal infection in the gut too,
All right, okay. A couple of questions to finish up with, Gabriel. Omega 369, I've been told to take that, and that's all that's really necessary, whatever that means. I'm presuming you have to eat more than Omega 369, but anyway.
What it means, though, I mean, they're right in a certain sense, is that they're the essential fatty acids, is 3, 6 and 9. And anything essential means we can't produce it in the body. Same with the essential amino acids. So there's other fatty acids that we can produce in the body, and therefore they're not seen as important. So anything we can produce in the body, we need to get it from the diet, and therefore we brand it essential. So 3, 6 and 9, very beneficial in general. In the standard Irish diet, we tend to consume adequate amounts of 6 and 9. And in my opinion, omega-3s are very important. So I'd focus on them because the ratio of 3 to 6 seems to be really important, and we're only beginning to understand that now in the scientific literature. But so if we supplement with omega-3s, I think it's really good. And 6s and 9s, we should eat lots of nuts and seeds and oils, extra virgin olive oil poured on salads, and flaxseed oil, flax seeds, all the nuts, raw nuts now, not salted or not heated up or roasted or anything. Just this is where we get some of our 6 and 9s. 3s, again, fish oil, cod liver oil, fatty fish.
Okay. Final question, Gabriel, this week in relation to this person has an ear infection and they feel dizzy as a result. Any suggestions on that at all?
Yeah, so the ear infection is causing inflammation as a natural reaction by the body to an infection. And it's the inflammation then is putting off the fluids in the ear, which is putting off balance. So that's the genesis of why you feel dizzy and stuff. But in general, with ear infection, be it bacterial or viral or whatever, I use an oil infusion of garlic and put a few warm drops down the ear and it soaks in there, and it's really good at killing infection locally. Also, obviously, internally, like you might treat a flu or any infection, bed rest is good for a period of time while you're eating well, cutting out all processed foods, and getting in herbal medicine is good for the immune system and that are antibacterial, antimicrobial.
Okay, Gabriel, many thanks for joining. And just before we finish, we mentioned croup last week, and someone texted in last week, and they've done so again to give their cure for croup, which is quite a dreadful condition really for young kids. And they would suggest that you melt a knob of good butter like Kerrygold in milk. The butter will rise to the top. Let it cool so as not to burn the child. Give the child the butter off the top. Try and get a few spoons in. And the reason it works is that the mucus that sticks to the hair of the larynx slides off when the butter is given to the child. So,
wow, sounds good, yeah.
There you go, an old cure for croup. Gabriel, many thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week. That's Gabriel McSharry there. Last chance to